So I was going through Twitter, right? And I saw a question where it was like, what's your top five impact matches? And like of course like I had a good list and everything, but it kind of made me want to talk about Impact Wrestling. So today, that's what we're doing. The title of the episode, Impact Wrestling's Da 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 Dilemma. Stay tuned. All right, welcome to today's podcast episode. I'm your host with the most charisma, the most, Desmond Penn, and this is the Pin Down. So, as you know, I don't know if you can see this. Oh, sorry, rocking the Dragon Ball Z. I keep forgetting the camera's so weird, so I was trying to. Jesus, there we go. Do the logo, but for whatever reason, I was just touching my nipple, looking weird. I'm not being weird now. Sorry, my laptop's about to die, so that's just what I had to do real quick. Boom, there we go, back to life. But let me just start this over. Hello, I'm your host with the most charisma, most Des and Pin. This is a Pin now. So as promised today, we are going to be talking about Impact Wrestling. So if you're a wrestling fan, even if you've been a wrestling fan for like let's say a year or so, you probably just know about Impact Wrestling. But if you're like a legit wrestling fan, I guess, then you know all the back history. Like you know how Impact. I feel like many people would say Impact was like the shit back in the day, and we're definitely going to go more into that, and I'm going to give you my take at the end. But we're just going to just a brief overview of Impact. So Impact Wrestling at one time before AEW, it was Impact Wrestling. It was seen as the alternative to the AWE because AWE had like a very strict formula, I would say, especially around the time Impact was coming out. You kind of knew how they were going to do it. You kind of knew how the storylines were going to go. Impact kind of gave that rough and tough, wild, wild west, anything can happen environment. But let me just, Lord, please, nobody. You can say it's because of this man or this woman is the reason why I guess people just don't really mess with Impact anymore. And that kind of brings to my first kind of like Impact's dilemma is a lot of times and again, please don't attack me. It's the fans. I hate to kind of like sound like that person, but it's definitely the fans because like a lot of times if you go on wrestling Twitter and you talk about Impact Wrestling, it could be just anything. You could be praising Impact Wrestling, you can be talking down on it, you could be just talking about like I am now, really just in the middle. And people just talking about, oh my God, yeah, Impact Wrestling was great back in 2005. And then they dropped the ball. They talk about how could you let someone like AJ Styles walk out? And, trust me, I get it. I 100% get that. But I feel like that kind of mindset is the reason why a lot of people aren't tuning into Impact now. That's the reason why no one's really wanting to give Impact a watch, just because they're stuck in like, oh, it's not 2005. Here's the thing, like nothing's 2005 anymore. Nothing at all. The AWE's not 2005. I was about to say AEW was in 2005, but geez, I can't even say New Japan because New Japan, I don't know what the hell New Japan would do in 2005, so I can't even speak on that. But they're stuck in the past in that mindset that like they dropped the ball so hard. And yes, I agree, they dropped the ball so hard, but you can still definitely give it a watch. So if that's your mindset, just check it out. I watch Impact. I don't want to say every week, but I at least catch like I want to say 2 shows out of the month, and like for the most part, they're pretty good. Like they're pretty good. That does bring me talking about the show. That does bring me to my next point, the writers. So I'm curious to know who the booker is. I know God, what's his name? I can't remember his name, but he's like the on-screen authority for Impact as well. I feel like such a fake because I just said I watched it like 2 times. You think I would know the bastard's name, but I don't. Um but I think he's like the head booker. I think Don Callis, which he's in AEW right now with Kenny Omega, the Young Bucks, the Elite, or maybe not the Elite if you saw. um 1026 episode of AEW Dynamite. Nice video package. We might be talking about that. I don't know. But they definitely can come up with like some weird angles or like just some weird like creations. Like I remember back in 2020, they did like a wrestler house or like a wrestling house where there's like a bunch of wrestlers in a house and like all these weird rules and stipulations. Taya Valkyrie shot someone and like killed them, but then they came back and she went to jail, and that's how they wrote her off. That was like this. That was just the weirdest time for Impact. That I felt like at that time, Impact was definitely taking a step forward because I felt like they were doing pretty good. But I will also admit, around that time, they also lost Tessa Blanchard, which to me at the time before all the allegations came out and all the stories about her, I feel like she was probably Impact Wrestling's top star, and she could have done a lot if she stayed. And I guess depending on how you feel about her, she didn't do what she did with all the other stuff. But I feel like the writing could definitely be better. I feel like they could try to experiment and do some more stuff. One thing I feel like they could really do really good on, but I feel like I don't know because of this pretty much every wrestling promotion has this kind of like group or faction. I'm violent by design. I feel like I feel like the big thing now for wrestling is like creepy, weird, oddball factions. Because like think about it, like you have and they do right. You have what could possibly be like the White Six, but the White Six look like it's going to be a faction. My guess is Liv Morgan, Bo Dallas, and other people. You have the Schism on NXT. Then you go to AEW, you have House of Black. You go to Impact Wrestling by Design. You go to NWA, you have Control Your Narrative. So it's like the oddball, really dark. We're violent because like this is our nature. That seems to be the Nikes of wrestling, I guess, in a sense. And with Impact Wrestling by Design, I feel like there's missing that little something that could definitely make by Design a lot better, but time will tell. But I can't really fault them too much because one thing I feel like Impact definitely doesn't have too much of. And if you're from Impact or you're a wrestler, please correct me if I'm wrong. Budget, like money, moolah, cash, dinero, green. And it can definitely show at times just because sometimes the camera won't be too good or like the setting. Like, like they do good. Don't get me wrong. They do really well for like what they have. And I can't really speak because if I was running Impact Wrestling, bro, we'd be in the backyard shooting on an iPhone 11. So again, I'm not taking jabs at wrestling. I'm not, saying like just get more money, bro. I know it's not that simple. I will also say, just back to let me pull up the logo again. They're on Access TV, so Access TV isn't exactly a channel that everybody knew. I only know Access TV because I watch Impact Wrestling on there and New Japan Wrestling comes on there. But all they really do, if I'm not mistaken, is like really old movies that no one really heard about too much, and like a lot of like rock and roll and music stuff. So that's one thing I feel like is definitely kind of limiting it. But again, I think the reason why like Impact kind of doesn't have like TNT, USA, Sci-Fi, and all that stuff that like WWE and AEW have is just because like again, like it has dropped the ball over the years, and it's a weird, like I feel like fans as well as like just maybe network executives seeing the background in the past just don't want to take too many chances, and that kind of just mess up. So I feel like the only way they can possibly get out of that rut if they just have a bona fide star, like there's someone that can carry that company, like just put it on the back, kind of like how Angle did when he first came in, and how they had Sting, and then even Hulk Hogan, Eric Bischoff, even did that for Impact Wrestling. So I definitely think, in my mind, that's the only way they can get out of the rut. But talking about this, I don't want you guys to think I'm just a negative Nelly over here. Impact Wrestling definitely has a lot of good stuff. Like for instance, we could talk about the X Division. The X Division is arguably just as good as WCW's cruiserweight division and New Japan Wrestling Junior Heavyweight. if not better, argument you can make in the comment section, which, by the way, can't believe I haven't done this yet. If you are watching this episode and you are not subscribed to this channel, excuse my language, what the fuck are you doing? Just subscribe. You can easily change your mind. You can easily decide you don't want to subscribe anymore. Subscribe, but for now, subscribe it. And while you're doing that, you can go ahead and, I don't know, like this video. You can go ahead and share it on your TikTok. Lord knows you're on it because you're not doing your job at work, and now the boss is yelling at you. Then you're going to get fired, and you got to go up to your girlfriend or boyfriend and tell them, "Hey, I lost my job, and the reason was because I watched this awesome ass podcast, The Pin Down." And you know what? He or she's going to ask, "Well, did you at least subscribe?" And you're going to be like, "No." So you're going to, so you didn't even subscribe to a show that you really like, so you can at least, watch it whenever, as well as watch the other bomb ass podcast shows they have. So, I'm trying to save you from all that. So all you have to do is, if you're on a computer or a monitor, just move the mouse, click right on the subscribe button. And don't forget to get that like button too. On your phone, it's just happen. It's easy. Stop being lazy. But Mac, I don't want you guys to think that was such a weird tangent. I wanted to stop it, but I just kept getting more weird thoughts going on and on. I'm recording this late. As I get tired, I get more weird. So excuse me. But like Mike Bailey, speak about Mike Bailey. I feel like is a breakout star for Impact Wrestling, because if you've seen his matches, like with Kenny King, Frankie Kazarian, Mia Yim, like, and all those people, he doesn't miss. He's like probably the Carmelo Hayes of Impact Wrestling in a sense, where I feel like they could really make a company off of him. He has really good babyface energy. I'm not sure how he would do as a heel. I'm not sure if he would, but I feel like he's definitely someone that I would try to push to the moon. But one thing we can also talk about, which I think hands down no one will argue with me, the the mm, the knockouts division is a goat tier. Like, if you are not a fan of the knockout division and Impact Wrestling, I don't know what the hell you're doing. Like, the knockout division is just so good, and it's been good since like the beginning of Impact Wrestling. Like back when WWE was doing like bras and penny matches, doing like 2 or 3 minute matches, when it was anybody else but Lita and Trish. Impact was doing like Awesome Kong. You had Gail Kim. You had the Beautiful People. Like, Impact was good, and then like even like Deanna. In my mind, I can say, and I'm being honest with this, Deanna Purrazzo is probably my top 3, if not my top 1 current favorite female wrestler. And she's definitely top 10 if we're just talking wrestler in general. She's definitely top 10 because her work is just goated. And she was definitely a reason why I was like tuning in to Impact Wrestling during 2020, even when there was no crowd. Like when 2020 was COVID, I was in the military at the time. I was in my barracks watching WWE, NXT. I was catching highlights of AEW because I didn't have a channel, but you can bet your ass I was definitely catching Impact Wrestling because like Deanna Purrazzo's, her run was just so good. Like, I didn't want it to come to, and I knew it was, but I didn't want it because like it was just so good. She put on bangers with Kiera Hogan. I'm so sorry, Mickey James, Jordan Grace, who she took I just blanked out there, but Jordan Grace, and let's not even forget the Mickey James Bound for Glory in the Texas hardcore match that they did at the next pay-per-view. It was just everything about her was so good. So I will definitely say the Impact Wrestling knockout division is definitely a must see. Even the ladder match that they did, I want to say maybe 4 or 5 months ago, was just good. You had Mia Yim, Jordan Grace. If I'm not mistaken, you had Tasha Stills, Deanna Purrazzo, Chelsea Greenlist. Everything about it is so good. So to kind of wrap this up and close it, if you're not watching Impact Wrestling, I would definitely give it a chance again. Like, whether you're a new wrestling fan, whether you're someone who watched it back in the day and you just don't want to watch it because you feel like it's not good, I say give it a watch. It definitely has a unique factor. One thing I feel like is definitely limiting, which I forgot to talk about, is AEW, because AEW kind of took that spot for WWE substitute. So Dak is also another limit. I forgot to mention that. I meant to mention that in the beginning, but watch it. What do you have to lose? Like, just watch an episode or watch like 30 minutes. If you don't like it, 30 minutes, feel free to go on something else. But this is, I guess, my stamp of approval on Impact Wrestling. It definitely has a lot of potential. Now, will it ever go back to what it used to be? I honestly don't know. I think time will tell on that. But is it doing good for all that it's been through? Yeah, I would definitely say that. So go check it out. Again, you ain't got nothing to lose. Well, this is the end of this episode. Again, thank you all for watching. If you have not, like and subscribe to Blurred Approved Entertainment, definitely would. You can catch all my other pin down episodes as well as other people. You got the Den and Out podcast. You got Tap In, No Cap In. Those guys are doing excellent work every Friday night. They're live talking. Feel free to check those out. Who knows? One day I might do a live podcast, or hell, I might just join them and just talk about whatever they're talking about. But thank you so much for watching this. Again, make sure you like and subscribe. And you guys just stay hydrated, keep it tight. Yeah. Thank you.